Emergency, emergency. All hands on deck. That is what's going on right now at the White House, in Trump world, in MAGA world. Emergency, emergency, all hands on deck. What do we do? How do we save this narrative? How do we save Donald Trump? How do we save this administration when they should be concerned with what? How do they save victims from happening again? How do they save sanity for people who are having to deal with these types of issues? That is the true emergency, but it's emergency. That's the true emergency, but the one at the White House. Let's get real. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, Lemonation. Hello, Detroit. Hello, Louisiana. Hello, Austin, Texas. We're so glad that everybody is here. Lemon Live at 5. We have a great show for you. And we have a journalist who knows everything about this Epstein trial. As a matter of fact, she wrote about it. But I don't know if you guys saw the latest developments. We told you exactly what we told you this morning has occurred. We told you that, and I told you not even just this morning, but before, that Ghislaine Maxwell, they would release some information or leak it to say that Ghislaine Maxwell saw nothing, Donald Trump do nothing wrong. And that is what's happening right now. We're going to talk about that emergency summit. That was our breaking news this morning. But they say that Ghislaine Maxwell has spoken, and in the interview, that she has said nothing was wrong. I think we have a story or tweet about that, that nothing was wrong. Tara Palmeri is here. I don't know if she's joining us now. Is she in the thing yet? She is. Okay. We'll bring Tara on in just a minute. But there it is. Ghislaine Maxwell told the DOJ Trump never did anything concerning around her. That's what sources are saying. Hi, Tara Palmeri. How you doing?
Hey, Don. How are you?
I'm great. Tara Palmeri is a veteran journalist, the author of The Red Letter on Substack, and the host of the Tara Palmeri Show here on YouTube. And also, she's written about it on Substack and written about it before. She's interviewed a lot of folks involved in this. So, Tara,
yeah, I did 2 podcasts. I spent 2 years investigating this with Julie K. Brown, the woman who broke the story open. So I know a lot about it.
So, Tara, we'll talk about this emergency. We're calling it emergency summit. But right now, let's talk about the sources. When they say sources, according to sources, someone leaked this to journalists so that they could spread it. Oh, there's nothing wrong. And what say you? Is it working? Is it backfiring? It's kind of a yawn. When I heard about it, I was like,
I don't know, Don. I was talking to my producer, Eric, and he's pretty MAGA, and he thinks it's scandalous, especially this Epstein summit. Yeah, he does. He voted for Trump, and he thinks the Epstein summit at the White House, where J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, one of the top, the person who was calling for the Epstein files to be released, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Pam Bondi, who promised to release the files, Attorney General Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, they're all getting together and they're trying to figure out how to spin the narrative to work for them. Should they release the tapes? Should they do a press conference? Should they go on Joe Rogan?
I think that's a bad idea, Tara, for them to release those tapes. And also, let's just you and I talk, and we'll get into the details here. Let's think about it. We've been involved in the media a long time. You've been covering this for 2 years, and if you've been covering it for this long,
well, more than 2 years, but it took 2 years to do those pods. But yeah, I've been covering it for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and it started the hysteria around it basically came from the right. Donald Trump mentioned this. It was the first, to our knowledge, and at least to the reporting that I've seen, to mention it in a public arena when being questioned. I don't know if it was I'm not sure what it was, but he was at some political event on stage, and they asked him about it. And Jeffrey Epstein, and he's the first one to sort of bring it up. No, they didn't even ask him. He brought it up.
Yeah, he volunteered it, but it was always it was out there. It's just that he volunteered. He weaponized it first in politics.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering how does Ghislaine Maxwell considering? Can we put up her charges, please? look, Ghislaine Maxwell, this is what she was tried and convicted of. One of them was perjury, conspiracy to entice individuals under the age of 17 to travel interstate, engage in whatever illegal activity. Enticement of an individual, Jane Doe, under the age of conspiracy. That was not guilty. Sorry, guilty of the first one, conspiracy to entice, conspiracy to transport individuals under the age of 17, in the intent of a criminal essay, transportation of an individual under, and all of these issues found guilty of.
Yeah.
And I think there was a perjury. Am I right? Was there a perjury thing in there as well?
That was in a civil case against Virginia Giuffre.
So where's the credibility is what I'm asking. And how is MAGA going to believe this?
And also, she refused to testify in this trial because she knew she couldn't stand on cross-examination. She had her chance. She could have told the world what she wanted to say, but she chose not to. She's been silent up until now. She hasn't even done an interview. But we're supposed to trust a one-on-one with her and the number 2 in the Justice Department and her lawyers just talking. And who knows how much of that conversation we're even going to get. I mean, obviously, if she wants to be pardoned by Trump, which is the end goal, that's what her family has explicitly asked for. And President Trump has said he can do it. Why in any way would she implicate the president?
Yeah.
She is not a credible source.
Yeah, but Tara, to your point, if you were facing 20 years and you had a president or someone, an attorney or whatever, that was looking for help and you could help them by not saying anything or shutting up, what would you do? I wouldn't want to spend 20 years. I'm just saying. What do you expect?
She deserved more than 20 years, though. I mean, that was pretty light considering.
Yeah.
And considering that she was actually involved in the sexual molestation of these women, I mean, of girls, excuse me, now women, but she was the one who took off Virginia Giuffre's panties and then touched her when she came into the house. She was the one who fondled 16-year-old Annie Farmer's breasts. I mean, that is pedophilia. Just because it's a woman, it doesn't make it any different.
Yeah. And this is awful. So back to you said you have a friend who is a MAGA voter. You know someone who is a MAGA voter, and I'm
my producer. Yeah, he's a MAGA voter.
Talk to me more about that, because one would think that they would just say, what the hell, what the hell, just release the files, because they were hoping that it was, or thinking that it was a Democrat plot, as they say, a la Pizzagate.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of part of the reason why, well, Eric's great, but it's really great to have someone on the team that has that perspective. I want to know, what's riling up the president's base. I mean, that is the power that he derives. That is how he stays in power, right? Is his political base. And he said he thinks it's a scandal. I mean, this is exactly what they were railing against. If not, it was always about a cabal of elites that could get away with things, a two-tier justice system. Now, of course, these cabal of elites were always Democrats in their eyes, not the president, who was a Democrat then when he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, by the way, during the height of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. But, this is the action of the deep state in work, collusion between top officials about how to control a narrative, deciding what to release, what shows to go on, how to make sure the public sees it our way. This is big government in action. And, that is not what they voted for. They voted when Kash Patel said on podcasts, we're going to release the files. They voted when JD Vance said, we're going to release the Epstein files. They voted when Pam Bondi said that. That's who they voted for. Wait, breaking news? Okay, yeah, she spoke. Sorry, I thought there was something else. Yeah, so of course she said that. I mean, to me, that is the answer that we always thought we were going to get. And I was talking to one of the victims yesterday, because I text with them all the time, survivors, Maria Farmer, and she was telling me, I have nightmares that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to go from this prison camp. She was a sex offender, okay? A sex offender now in a prison camp, to house arrest. I mean, that's the next step, right? Or just a pure pardon. And to me, the way I see this all playing it out is Trump pardons Ghislaine, Diddy, George Santos one day. The moral lines are all blurred. There's so much outrage. It just makes such a firestorm that it's just like almost a combustion. And then he hopes it goes away that way.
Yeah. So when I was saying, back to the question, because I lost my train of thought a little bit. But when I was asking you about the MAGA folks and what they're thinking,
Yeah.
to me, I said it was a yawn. I think it's important. Don't get me wrong. I think it's an important story I'm covering.
Yeah.
I believe Epstein. This is the story. As you are, an extraordinary journalist, you somehow manage to know. You have a great editorial compass. You know the stories to do, and you have been covering this. But so I'm wondering, there was no outrage. There was no texting. There were no alerts. I mean, for me, of people going, oh my gosh, Ghislaine Maxwell said that Donald Trump did nothing. You libs are stupid. See, so it's a yawn.
Did you get those texts? I didn't know you got those texts.
Yeah, if there's something that happens, they're like, oh God, they moved her to a facility. Don, oh my gosh, can you believe this? Now she's in Club Med. They're gunning for a pardon when that happened. But this, nothing. I got crickets. And so that's why I'm wondering so much about how MAGA world, because they cannot continue to make excuses. They will, but I don't see how they do.
Yeah, no, I think you're making a lot of really good points. But I just think this is the inevitable creep. I mean, I was talking to my grandmother the other day, my babcia, I love her, but she was saying to me, I mean, she grew up in Soviet Poland, okay? She's terrified of Putin. I mean, she knows what it's like to grow up in like a really, an oppressive regime. And she said, of course, Ghislaine Maxwell's going to get out, Tara. Don't you see it? I think a lot of people are jaded. I think they expect this to happen at this point. She's already been moved to another prison facility. She's speaking to the number 2 person in the Justice Department, our top law enforcement official, and in secret. Everything about this reeks of corruption. And so I think people are at this point jaded. If you said tomorrow she's pardoned, maybe a 24, 48-hour news cycle. And the victims know it's happening. And that's why they started sending out emails, not emails, but letters to the judges. They're trying to stop this from happening again because this keeps happening to them over and over and over again. First, it was the sweetheart deal with Jeffrey Epstein where co-conspirators, named and unnamed, wouldn't be prosecuted. Who was that? It was Ghislaine, and others, obviously. The Johns and the many assistants who were needed to run one of the largest sex trafficking operations in history. And so it just seems so obvious that every day is another story about Ghislaine inching towards freedom and Donald Trump being, I guess, in his eyes, vindicated. But I think anyone with 2 brain cells knows that's not the truth, that this was a woman who is clearly eager to get out of prison and will say anything it takes to get out of prison. Think about this. This is someone who grew up on yachts and helicopters. Her father owned the New York Daily News and the Daily Mirror and MTV Europe and Macmillan Press. She would compare her to being the daughter of a cross between Donald Trump and Rupert Murdoch. That is how big of a family her father was, Robert Maxwell. When he died, he was buried in the Mount of Olives in Israel, which is for prime ministers, kings, princes. Okay. So, she's the reason that Epstein knew princes. She's the reason that Epstein knew the Clintons. She's the reason that Epstein knew Donald Trump. She met Donald Trump through her father when she was young. She was trying to sell corporate gifts to him. So she is the person that got this dropout math teacher in these circles. Okay. And she's the one who also brought the girls in. She is everything in this operation. She is the core of it. And so I just think that this idea that she could be a victim or that she's honorable for speaking, it's exasperating to anyone who knows the extent of the evil and betrayal that she enacted on these poor girls.
Well, look, excellent point. And I think you're right about people are like, of course, when I go out to interview people, remember when it dropped Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. And then when I ask people, are you surprised? They're like, no. Like, what? Why are you asking me that question? Of course his name is in the Epstein files. Do you think he did something? This is their opinion. Yes. Again, this is an opinion. And so what I sit in front of these cameras and whenever I'm in front of the camera in the media, I try not to do that thing that so many people do, which is to be so guarded about what you say that it comes off as fake, right? To say the same thing in the green room or on the pre-call that I say on the thing. And that doesn't always happen. So, and I look at what's happening in the media many times, is that people they have to pretend in these conversations that, well, we can't do this. Maybe, perhaps there's this, perhaps there's that. Oh my gosh, what if, when people at home are going, what are you guys doing? Of course, the obvious answer, it is Occam's razor. The obvious answer is the answer to all of this. And even I think the White House is tone deaf on this. If they're thinking that they can change minds by anything other than not releasing the Epstein file, I think that they are delusional. If they think, according to the reporting, we can put that up, Tara, that Joe Rogan somehow, they're trying to get Joe Rogan involved.
Yeah, I think that Joe Rogan will look silly if if Joe Rogan takes the bait, he's going to look like he's going to look silly. He's going to look like he's being used by them. I wouldn't go near this story. Not near the story. Stay on the story. I wouldn't go near the administration's narrative on this story because they have not been reliable actors in this story. You cannot be a reliable actor in a story in which the president is in the files and you refuse to release the files. You cannot be a reliable actor in this story in which you say for a long time there's an Epstein list and then say there is no list. And by the way, I had been long saying this even before Pam Bondi came out, that there was no one sheet of paper by Epstein, that all the victims had lists of men that they were trafficked to. And Epstein knew all the men that he trafficked women to. He didn't need to put it on a piece of paper. He was much more sophisticated than that. But all of it, that there are no third parties, no blackmail was involved. They have consistently been untruthful in this story. And so to give him a platform is almost insanity. I think the only thing you could possibly do, put Todd Blanche up there before a firing line of press and have every single last question answered.
And release the Epstein files.
Oh yeah, that too. I mean, that's a given. Yes, and release the Epstein, but not all redacted. I don't want to see black paper pages, by the way.
Right. Well, when they give that excuse, by the way, if you're watching, hit the thumbs up. We appreciate it. It affects the algorithm. Someone in the chat just reminded me of that. So make sure you do that, like and subscribe. We're out here, Tara and I are out here in these independent streets, and we rely on your generosity and that you trust us enough that you want us to continue to bring you the information. So make sure you hit the like, thumbs up, subscribe to both of our channels. Okay, so Tara, you bring up again more good points about this. The only thing that will change the narrative, if it is changeable, is Todd Blanche answering questions and, of course, releasing the Epstein files. We're not anywhere near that. I have been saying, I'm not sure if this is a thing that takes him down, although I'm leaning towards that, but it's definitely a thing that breaks the MAGA spell. And I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was talking to Eric about this, and he actually is sending me messages because he's watching this. And he said that they wouldn't be out there right now trying to fix the messaging if they didn't think that MAGA was falling in line. I think they know that MAGA is not falling in line. And if they wouldn't need these messengers, they wouldn't need to shepherd the base right now. And by nature of MAGA, by the way, these are people, a lot of them former Bernie bros. These are a lot of independents. These are people who don't really, they're just not your typical voter. They are burn it all down independent types. And so, this is why it's going to be hard to convince them that you're being honest with them. And it's going to take a lot more than, Todd Blanche and a 30-minute conversation being released. And by the way, I mean, that even the way they showed the footage of that cell. Well, no, they didn't even have the footage of the cell. The hallway in front of the cell shows the footage of the cell. And then a minute is missing. It's just, everything has been so shady about this case.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just.
Go on. Tell me. Does he still support? Does he still, your producer's MAGA, does he still support Donald Trump?
I don't know. I'm sure he does. But I mean, I think about a lot of people I talk to that voted for Trump, they're still reluctant to say, they'll say to me, yeah, I voted for Trump. I'm not happy with him right now, but I could have never voted for Kamala. And that's what they always say to me. So I don't know. I mean, that's the vibe I get. I think if there was another populist leader right now, they could probably win that person over, win that entire, win his base over right now, but I don't see that person. Like, certainly Elon Musk is not that populist leader. He's an elitist tech bro, you know. Trump's like I think this is his Achilles heel, honestly.
Okay. Do you think I'm leaning towards it could take him down? I didn't think so in the beginning, but it could because they're playing it all wrong. They're kind of, in a weird way, they're kind of acting like the Democrats, like they don't understand what's going on out in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, Tara, I want to talk to you about the interviews that you've done, some of them, because I think people need to know just how in depth and how much you've been covering this. And then also what is happening out in the world, in the media. I want to hear from Michael Wolff and your reporting as well. So can we just put up her reporting real quickly? This is Tara's, her Substack, where she writes about her interviews with, do we have it up now? There we go. What MAGA doesn't know about Ghislaine Maxwell.
I think the way you said it the first time is probably right. What MAGA doesn't want to know about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. And it starts with us saying, in this edition, I share an exclusive interview from my reporting journey with Virginia Giuffre for Broken, Jeffrey Epstein, a rare conversation with a critical insider who witnessed the disturbing dynamic between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein up close. We'll talk to her about her reporting. We'll get more information on what people are saying, what biographer Michael Wolff is hearing. Some of this is jaw-dropping and shocking. But before we get to that, we are going to take you inside of this emergency summit that is going to happen at the Vice President's house tonight. Okay? But first, a word from our sponsors. Support comes from Lean. Have you heard of Caralluma? It is an edible cactus from India and a natural appetite suppressant. Caralluma is one of the rare natural ingredients doctors added to a remarkable weight loss supplement called Lean. If you have a bold summer weight loss goal, but injections aren't your thing, well, here's what doctors who formulated Lean say. They say this is as close as we have come to the benefits of those popular injections. Like injections, Lean was created to help maintain healthy blood sugar and control cravings, but its ingredients are also designed to burn fat by converting it into energy. And the best part, no needles, just real results. They created a healthier way to lose weight by capturing the power of natural ingredients like Caralluma. It's just smart. So let's get you started with 20% off. Use the code LEMON20 at takelean.com. That's LEMON20 at takelean.com. Now, I need to tell you, these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Support comes from Wild Alaskan Company. When was the last time that you truly trusted the seafood that you brought home? I used to question everything from taste to sustainability until I discovered the Wild Alaskan Company. They deliver wild-caught, perfectly proportioned, nutrient-dense seafood right to your door. It's 100% wild-caught, never farmed, with no antibiotics, GMOs, or additives. Just clean, real fish that supports healthy oceans and fishing communities. I love their sockeye salmon, rich, flavorful, and frozen right off the boat to lock in taste, flavor, and omega-3s. Every order supports sustainable harvesting practices, and your membership comes with flexible shipments, expert tips, and truly feel-good seafood. You can try it risk-free with a 100% money-back guarantee. Not all fish are the same. Get seafood that you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/lemon for $35 off your first box. That's wildalaskan.com/lemon. $35 off your first box. So thank you, sponsors. We appreciate it. So we're back now with Tara Palmeri. Tara, I think you're the ultimate. You're the I don't want to be offensive, but I think you're the Epstein whisperer for this Epstein story whisperer. I think that you have the best information. So let's talk about this summit. Let's put it up. This was a CNN story this morning reporting that there was going to be this dinner at the White House. Top Trump officials will discuss Epstein's strategy at a Wednesday dinner hosted by the Vice President, J.D. Vance. It sounds like a bad idea to me, but go on. In this, what are they going to discuss? And if you scroll through this, it'll show you the people, and Tara mentioned that these are the people who are involved in all of this. Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Todd Blanche. Go on.
It's just gross. I mean, these people, at least Pam Bondi, J.D. Vance, and Kash Patel, made made promises to the American people that they would release the files. And now they're talking about, well, how do we cover this up so we can get rid of this? What are we going to do? How do we, well, this is like corruption at the highest level. I feel for the victims, honestly. Those are the people I feel for because I talk to them every day and I know that they know the stories and they know the case isn't closed. And when I checked in with my senior law enforcement sources before Pam Bondi came out and said case closed, they told me, yeah, we have a lot. We're sitting on tons of evidence, like 300 gigabytes of evidence. Okay.
Yeah.
Evidence, like surveillance, photos, footage. What? And that evidence is just useless. There's no case. There's no men. There's no Johns. This is one of the largest sex trafficking operations of our time. 1,000 victims. And you're going to say the case is closed with one person going to prison and now in a camp, now in a prison camp where, Elizabeth Holmes is hanging out.
Yeah. So Tara, and I screwed up because I didn't realize that you had an heart out. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I can talk a little longer about this.
Yeah. Because I want to talk about your reporting then. I want to put your Substack back up that you have this reporting and then any other new reporting. And so you tell me where you want to go with your reporting and what do you want to point out?
I just wanted to, I went through a lot of my reporting over the years for the 2 podcasts and broke in Jeffrey Epstein and Power the Maxwells. Now I have my own show, the Tara Palmeri Show, but I was going back over it and I really spoke to a lot of Ghislaine's friends and the people that worked for her father and the people who were in her life. And I really wanted to understand the psychology of this person, this really dark profile of a woman who would actually engage in pedophilia, recruit children 3 per day for Epstein and engage in it herself. And it all led back to her father. And, so many of the stories that I was told, her father would abuse her. He was a dark man. When she was younger, she had an eating disorder. He would lock her out of the kitchen. He would humiliate her. And he was also, he would dehumanize people too. I mean, when he got on his helicopter, he would pee off the side of the building onto people. He would throw his food on the floor for people to.
What?
Yeah, he would throw his food. This is according to his assistant who I interviewed. He would throw his food on the side off the and have people pick it up. He would use the hand towels to wipe his behind when he was in the bathroom and leave it for people. He was a foul human being, okay? He did not care about humans. He screamed at them all of the time. I heard that when he was interviewing people, he often just would, if he didn't like them, he'd stop the interview and drop them off on the side of the highway. Like and this is the person who she adored. And when he died mysteriously off the side of a yacht named the Lady Ghislaine after his favorite child, Ghislaine, he left her nothing. And Ghislaine was crying, according to her friends, that she was broke. She was broke and she was living in a 1-bedroom apartment on the Upper East Side. And she was a socialite living in London. And she just desperately wanted to have what she lost back. And then she finds Epstein. And the only way to keep Epstein happy is to find these 3 girls per day. And then she can still fly around in helicopters and go to private islands and hang out with princes. And that was the price she paid for the life she wanted. And I think people forget that. Also, and like in her relationship with her father, where she was treated terribly, Jeffrey also treated her really bad. She used to cry to her friends about it. He would belittle her, call her stupid, and she settled for breadcrumbs. Like, she loved him and he had no interest in her. And in one of the interviews that I did with the houseman, Juan Alessi, it's a very dark, disturbing interview, by the way. He had never spoken to the press before until he spoke to me in 2020. And Virginia Giuffre, we were traveling together when he talked to us, and he recalls being in the car with her when she found Virginia, by the way, at Mar-a-Lago. It was Juan who was driving the car that day. And he said when he saw Virginia Giuffre, he thought, oh, she's going to end up back at the house. But he recalled that Ghislaine would sometimes cry when she drove around looking for these girls. She was a dark, twisted woman. She said, I want to leave Jeffrey, but I can't. And then we find out later that, she sued Jeffrey's estate, saying he had promised to always cover her financial bills. And it's a deep, dark story. She's a twisted person. If you thought that 50th birthday card party thing was depraved, for the 40th birthday, she had a song written that was about Epstein's 24-hour erections and schoolgirl crushes, and they sang it in front of everybody at a party, in front of very, esteemed people, business leaders, and like she was a part of grooming the elites and the children. This is not a person who should be back on the streets. So that's all I'm saying in terms of the idea of a pardon.
Do you think that? I mean, great. You're you're a wealth of knowledge about this. Do you think the administration knows that? I mean, Donald Trump certainly knows some of that because he was friends with him. Jeffrey
you
Epstein
couldn't.
that he was
Yeah.
his best friend at one point. So, do you think that the administration and the people who are invested, do you think they know that all of this that's in the Epstein files about Ghislaine?
Oh gosh, yeah. Glenn went to prison for 20 years, and that was light. Because they were only looking to investigate her for a short period of time, and it would be impossible not to know. I remember Virginia saying, if you're walking in their house, there's no way you didn't know there was something weird about it, because there were pictures of naked girls all over the place. Glenn would take the pictures often. A lot of the girls were hanging around the pool naked. And Jeffrey wanted these girls to look like children, and they were children. If they weren't adults, they looked like children. And it's just, and Ghislaine thought it was funny. And according to her friend, Christina Oxenberg, who I quoted in this because I interviewed, she was, in the podcast, Ghislaine, when she asked Ghislaine, like, who are these girls? Ghislaine goes, they are nothing. They are trash. That is how she viewed them. It's manipulative. It's dark. It's criminal. This is not someone who got swept up in it as they want to portray. And Trump knew her for a long time. He knew her since her early days through her father, when he owned the New York Daily News. So I find all of this to be not plausible, that they could possibly try to paint her in any way as a victim, or in any way innocent, or just the scapegoat. This was a massive criminal operation. Massive. Jeffrey could not have done this on his own.
Yeah, and so again, I'm sure that the investigators knew, but I'm just wondering if the new folks. It's got to be it's in the files. The evidence is all there, and they know this, and they're still doing it. And they're still doing it. It's just sick. That's why I think the more this goes on, Tara, I really think that this could. You said it's his Achilles heel. It could take him down. And do you think they'll ever release the files?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not. I don't believe it so. I think they're going to go after people like us for talking about it before they do that.
Do you think that this will bring him down?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on his base and if they are with him. That's the only thing that has power over him is politics. That's
Where do we get your reporting? This is good. Go to Substack and read this. I'm telling you, Tara's a great reporter. She has a great channel on YouTube, and she also has a great Substack. So what is your Substack?
You can go to tarapalmeri.com. That's TARAPALMERI.com. It's called The Red Letter, but I have been investigating this story for a long time. I'm still doing a lot of work on it. I'm trying to continue following the leads that I've had. If you listen to the podcast that I've done in the past, you can tell that I told the stories through the eyes of the survivors, always stayed in touch with them. And I spent a lot of time digging into Ghislaine, her family, her background. I've done probably hundreds and hundreds of interviews on this, and I've been on it for years when nobody really cared. But, I just kind of always felt like it was an unfinished story. And I spoke to Virginia before she died, a few months before she died. And actually, when Pam Bondi put out that binder full of classified documents that were really just Virginia's files that were public. And, she was upset because she actually hoped, she was kind of Trumpy, I think. Maybe she was hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I wouldn't say Trumpy, but she was at least hopeful that the administration would do the right thing, because Epstein was arrested during his first term. So she was hopeful. And actually Elon Musk DM'd her and said that he would do something about it. And
wait. Say again? What?
Yeah, Virginia DM'd with Elon Musk, and Elon told her he would release the files. And so, and she met Donald Trump through Epstein, actually. But she said he was polite, and she wasn't trafficked to him, and she didn't know of anyone. But, you know, I felt sad for her because if you actually listen to the show, or I wish I could explain her. And she was someone who was around so much darkness and yet saw so much light, and was just she always kind of hoped people would do the right thing, whereas I was so jaded. And every time we talked to people who were witnesses and we got them to talk, and by the way, the FBI was following us around while we were doing this. It was insane. Like, they literally called Juan while
Really?
we were interviewing. It's all on tape. Yeah. And like her phone blew up, like from the cell phone towers pinging us. She was so hopeful. And I was not. Maybe I'm a jaded journalist, but I looked at all these people and I was just like, you chauffeured children around? Like, this is what you did? You know Virginia, you know what she went through, and you were adult at the time, and now, and by the way, like, Epstein took care of all of his employees. They all live in these like mini mansions now. It's very eerie, and they don't want to talk. And they all live in the same kind of like little mansions on golf courses and gated communities, and that's how he kept them quiet. Because everybody who worked for him knew what he was doing was disgusting. So how do you keep people quiet? You pay them off. It was disgusting. But yeah, she was so hopeful. I like, it was incredible to me. And I feel sad that she died, that she killed herself. I feel like the story it needs to keep going because the victims really haven't gotten any justice. And if you take Ghislaine out and you free her, this will be so re-traumatizing. It's already been re-traumatizing for them.
Mm. Thank you, Tara. I mean, I just
Thank
sat here and listened to you. This is great. I had so many clips and notes that I wanted, and I just talked to you. I mean, it makes me
Thanks.
sad, though. It just really makes me sad for the victims. And obviously, I'm a survivor, so this means a lot to me. But just hearing it is awful. But also, the American people deserve to know. I mean, they deserve to know. And you're doing a great job.
I think it's definitely what the survivors want it. Virginia wanted it. Annie Farmer wants it. Maria Farmer wants it. Marika Charchuni wanted. They want everyone to know what's in those files. They're tired of the two-tier justice system. So I hope somebody does the right thing. I hope the truth gets out somehow. Maybe someone will leak it.
Maybe. You never know. I don't know how anyone could live. I just can't see how anyone could live with themselves and by hiding information like this, or not being forthcoming. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Thank you, Tara. Keep up the great work. Okay.
You. Bye.
Thanks, Taylor. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Absolutely. Tara Palmeri, just a great reporter. And again, you got to check out her channel and check out what she does. She is really good. And that's when I tell you, there are independent journalists who are out here doing the work like her, and not, just this isn't about glamour or about being a star for her. She loves the work. And I think that she wants justice for the victims as well. A great job with her. So look, there's so much to talk to you about. And just to show you the hypocrisy of what is going on in this world, we're going to show you how MAGA is acting. What MAGA is doing. Okay. We have breaking news. Can you put the breaking news up on the screen? Make sure the folks know what the breaking news is. Okay. Here's our breaking news, man. And I wish Tara was here. Can you guys get Tara back? Because we need her. Call her and tell her that there's breaking news. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Call her and tell her there's breaking news. So here's the breaking news. According to this reporter, Nandia Bose, which site is this coming from? This is on MSN. That Vice President Vance meeting to discuss Epstein fallout canceled. They've canceled the meeting. This is according to Reuters. A dinner for senior administration officials at Vice President J.D. Vance's residence to discuss topics. I'll put the breaking news up where, the Lemon Live at 5 thing is. Breaking news, Epstein summit canceled. Okay, so a dinner for senior administration officials at Vice President J.D. Vance's residence to discuss topics including the Trump administration's handling of Jeffrey Epstein case has been canceled after news of it leaked, a source familiar with the matter said. A spokesman for Vance said the dinner, first reported by CNN, had not been planned. Now it's been canceled. There was never a supposed meeting scheduled at the vice president's residence to discuss the Epstein strategy, said Vance spokesman William Martin. The Trump administration has struggled for weeks to mitigate the political fallout from the Epstein investigation and public pressure for more transparency over its handling of the files related to the convicted SA offenders case. President Donald Trump had promised to make public files related to the disgraced financier case if reelected. In July, however, the Justice Department said previously touted Epstein client list did not exist, angering Trump supporters who have called for additional details to be released. As soon as you hung up, Tara.
You want to know what, Don?
News.
You know who's watching you right now? Maria Farmer, who, by the way, was one of the first women to call the FBI in 1996 when she was a girl.
Come on the show. I would love to interview you. I'm a survivor, not of Epstein, but yes, please come on.
Yeah, she's amazing. She was texting me saying, Tara, Don wants you back on the show. And I was like, okay, I'll get back on. And obviously your producer texted me, my producer who's watching, but yeah, so she's amazing. But yeah, she was saying, get back on there. I mean, it's important for us to keep the conversation going for her. I mean, she has been I am so in awe of her and Annie, her sister, because they have been out there everywhere. And this is a really scary story to be out there covering. And, there are so many powerful people involved. So many people want them to go away, and they have not stopped since 1996. They deserve so much credit. I mean, Annie testified in the case against Maxwell. But yes, this cancellation, why am I not surprised? You're colluding in the vice president's house about what to do about the Epstein fallout. This is horrible. It looks like it's a cover up on top of a cover up on top of a cover up on top of, does it get any worse?
No, I think it gets worse for them because now they're like, what are we going to do? Now, I think that they thought would be their trump card, pun not intended, but it fits. I think what they thought would be their trump card turns out to be a dumb move. They thought Ghislaine Maxwell, and if they got in there and they spoke to her, that perhaps it would exonerate the president in some way. However, I do think that they're hearing one thing from Donald Trump and they are reading the files. He's telling them it's fake or whatever, the Biden folks, and they don't believe that. I'm sure they don't believe it. That's just messaging. But I think they were wondering just what she knew because they weren't sure what to believe, right? They wanted the narrative to be a certain way. So they wanted to go in and interview her. And now that they have interviewed her, and this was going to be their trump card, nobody's believing it, no matter what they say about it. I think that they backed themselves into a corner. I think they're up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah, I think they thought they could flood the zone, and it's just not working. There's
so you're
something.
Not surprised by the breaking news. Go on. Sorry, there's something.
No, I am. I mean, it almost makes it worse, right?
Yeah.
It's like acknowledging how bad it looks. We all see it. They've dug themselves a hole, man. But the hole is the only way out and they're dirty. They're in the dirt. They're in the mud now. You can't get out. You need some honesty. And the honesty is not coming through a woman who was convicted of who is serving time for 20 years. Suddenly she is a reliable source. No. When Comer said he subpoenaed, the former law enforcement officials, there's so many more people he could be subpoenaing, by the way, people who actually worked on the case, like Alex Acosta and the woman, Marie Villafana, the prosecutor in his office who put together 60 federal charges against Epstein that dropped down to 0. She wasn't called. And most importantly, they didn't subpoena any of the victims. Well, people don't want to hear from them. They don't want to hear from the survivors. They should be talking before Congress. They should tell the story. The witnesses, the people that we drove around and tried to talk to. A congressional subpoena would go a lot farther than a knock on the door, by the way. You get a lot more out of this story. There were so many people involved in this. You have chefs, you have pilots, you have chauffeurs. This is a massive sex trafficking operation over multiple properties, over multiple states, including 1,000 victims. This should not be that hard to do. I mean, I could put this investigation together, frankly, if I had subpoena power. I have done the investigation as far as I can without subpoena power as a journalist, right? But if you had subpoena power and you wanted to use it honestly, I mean, the story could be blown open. Blown open.
It could be, but will it? Under these circumstances, when Donald Trump is in control of every lever of government, the executive branch, the legislative branch, he's just completely sidelined them, and the judiciary, the judicial branch, he owns them too. But
God, yeah.
yeah. Okay, I don't want to keep you. I just wanted to. I was like, we gotta like get her back just so she can respond to that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you called me back because it's just so nuts. Now I gotta have a headache.
Thank you, Tara. All right. Tell her to please come on. Okay, we'd love to have her.
Yeah,
okay?
Guys, check out my channel at Tara Palmeri. I'm updating every day. Okay, bye.
Right. Thank you. Bye. See you, Tara. Okay, listen. More to come on this. What's happening supposedly in Washington? What's not? You never know. At any second, it could change. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything: cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With so much information out there, it can be hard to cut through all the noise. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 5 million people served worldwide, they're the largest online therapy platform in the world, rated 4.9 out of 5 in the App Store with 1.7 million reviews. It's convenient. You can connect with a therapist at the click of a button and switch anytime. I've used therapy to navigate some of the life's toughest moments, and having that professional judgment, a judgment-free space, it really does matter. So talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month with BetterHelp.com/DonLemon. That's BetterHelp.com/DonLemon. BetterHelp.com/DonLemon. Support comes from Shopify. This show started as an idea that became a business, and Shopify was part of that journey. Starting your own business can feel overwhelming, but Shopify helps turn what ifs into why not. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names to startups. Now, here at the Don Lemon Show, we use Shopify to bring you the merch that you love. So, don't know how to design a website? Shopify has beautiful templates ready to go. Need help marketing? They got tools to enhance images, write descriptions, run email campaigns, and reach your customers. And if you get stuck, their award-winning 24/7 customer support is always there. So turn your dreams into with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/lemon. That's shopify.com/lemon. And turn your dreams into, thanks to all of our sponsors. Turn those dreams into a ka-ching. Thank you to our sponsors. We really appreciate it. Okay, so here's, again, we're on the breaking news. There's supposed to be this emergency summit at the White House tonight. It has been canceled. That is the breaking news. There's Donald Trump has spoken. Vice President Vance hosting a gathering tonight to talk about how to respond to the Epstein file. Here is Donald Trump answering that question.
Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw a report today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
On that, look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
On that subject.
Yeah, please.
He doesn't even believe that. And the people around him don't believe that. Did you see them? They don't believe it. They're doing everything. Everything they do at the White House, every story, they go overseas, they go to Scotland, whatever. Everyone's like, Epstein. Why aren't you releasing the files? What about this summit? Now, I told you this morning, I went through this little scenario this morning about how this all works, right? Where I had my phone up and I was like, hey, hit me up. I've got something for you. Hey, what's up? I got a scoop for you, reporters or whatever. Someone is leaking. That's not bad sources. I don't know if it's bad sources, but someone from the White House, someone in the inner circle is leaking something. Someone discussed a meeting, right? And so now they're wanting to call it fake news because they're trying to change the narrative. But I know how this stuff works. And it started with, thanks for having drinks with me last week, or thanks for having dinner with me last week, whatever they did in their clandestine spot or whatever. That's how it works. And the reporters that they have installed doing this, a lot of them are, I don't know if they're MAGA, but they are, what did I call them? MAGA in sheep's clothing. They're MAGA in sheep's clothing. They pretend to you that they are centrist or liberal, whatever, but they're conservative. The networks are leveraging their relationships with Republicans by using Republican correspondents and I don't know if necessarily anchors to do it. And so whatever, they're all hanging out in the same places. They all have their houses all in the same, vacation spots. They're all in, what do you call it, in Palm Beach doing their thing. Hee hee ha ha. And then they get on television. It's a whole different thing. I'm telling you how this shit works. I've been doing it for a long time. Someone leaked something to some reporter or reporters. They jumped on it and now they're trying to pull it back because they know having a summit or a dinner at the vice president's house to discuss Epstein is a bad idea. And then the Joe Rogan of it all, put that back up there. By the way, so that's canceled tonight. So they had to do that dog and pony show that they just did at the White House. Right? Trump aides plan to plead with Joe Rogan to end Epstein crisis. Now, that was in the original story this morning. So basically, I think, who was the story? The original one was CNN, right? So that was in the original CNN story this morning, that they were going to possibly try to induct, so to speak, Joe Rogan into this, press him into service to try to ease the narrative that's out there. Now, and so let's talk about this in the news. Can we talk, guys? Can we talk? You guys notice that I just kind of slowed it down tonight, right? So can we talk? Okay. Let's talk about where this stuff really came from. Do we have the soundbite of Donald Trump? Just tell me yes or no. When he was the first person to bring this story into existence.
Yes.
This whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. Play the soundbite, please.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Epstein, in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends
well,
of
I
yours.
can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play
Are
at
you
my
saying
clubs.
there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could.
So there you go. That's Donald Trump. And then conservative media took the bait, like Fox News. Now, Fox News would like to pretend that this is like Donald Trump, like he just said. You just heard from him at the White House saying this is a Democrat conspiracy or a hoax. Okay. But the people who were reporting it breathlessly, who took the bait, was conservative media. And that was the Fox News and the other conservative folks of the world. This is Fox News, how they have covered the Epstein situation over the last few years. I believe it's been since 2021. But I just want you to pay close attention to this, because the bullshit unfolds in front of your face, and perhaps some MAGA folks will watch this and the bullshit goggles will fall off. Here it is.
There's been a lot of leaking from the DOJ recently, but somehow the Justice Department has not leaked anything really about Jeffrey Epstein, including his client list. Why is that? Well, Elon Musk, a big picture man if there ever was one, asked that question recently. Quote, the only thing more remarkable than DOJ not leaking the list is that no one in the media cares.
We believe that he was operating some kind of surveillance and sexual blackmail operation. There's been talk of his little black book, the Epstein tapes.
And if I am elected, you have my pledge, Laura, that we will open this kimono up, roll that log over, see what crawls out. From the Jeffrey Epstein client list.
Publish Epstein's client list.
Caution everybody that this is not the black book.
Right.
The black book is now in the possession of the Department of Justice. And when I hear Ghislaine Maxwell say, you know, for all this, the only person who's in jail is a female, my response to her would be, you had the black book. You could have cut a deal. Or the question is the black book. Why is the Department of Justice not revealing the names in the black book? Why are they keeping it sealed?
From his hometown of Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers go to war over the Epstein client list. They're keeping it locked up along with the Epstein flight logs and the transgender shooters manifesto, apparently. We deserve to see the Epstein materials, the JFK files, and the Diddy tapes. We're going to get all of the files on that. We're going to get the files on the Epstein flight logs.
Who's on the Epstein client list? Dun, dun, dun.
There was a whistleblower that came forward stating that there was evidence being destroyed at the FBI. As soon as the FBI found out President Trump won the election, they started their deep state nonsense.
Believe me, I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly.
Understand that this Epstein situation is very tricky for the administration, and day by day it gets worse and worse and worse. But they are pulling out all of the greatest hits to try to inflame the minds of their most, conspiracy theory addled base, so that they hear Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Hillary, and they get activated, and suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it.
Who has been exposed for grifting and lying to their bases, their audience and their base about the Epstein files? Dun, dun, dun. Faux fucking news. That's who's been lying and grifting. Dun, dun, dun. Unbelievable. Donald Trump started. They took the bait. And now the narrative is blame the Democrats for something that they did. And all of these people, these dumb MAGA brain people, the cult, we're going to believe it. And they're still trying to make excuses. Now, you guys know what I told you this morning when I heard about this summit that was supposed to happen tonight at the vice president's house, and then Virginia Giuffre's family released this statement. Let's put it up. I said, they're in trouble. They don't realize what's happening. And if more victims' families come out, or more victims, and say stuff like this, what are they going to do? She said, we understand the Vice President J.D. Vance will hold a strategy session this evening at his residence with administration officials. Then later on, they called his bluff and said, we would love to come be the representative for our family member who is now no longer with us, sadly. How on earth could they think of holding this? How on earth can they pretend that everything else is important and should be talked about, from his veins, his cankles, to the hiding the airplane? That's a whole nother show, but the Qatari plane. But from his cankles to coming up with some bullshit about Barack Obama, and that ain't gonna amount to shit. But they're gonna keep trying to do it. It's not going to amount to anything. Do you really think that these people, Barack Obama and those people, they did not, Jeffrey Epstein was not on their radar. It was not that they didn't care about it, but they didn't believe. They were not conspiracy theorists. They were real people. They were serious people in that administration. Not one scandal, scandal less. And everybody's like, what about the this and that? All this shit that they make up about Barack Obama. But there's no scandal. It's all made up. 34 criminal counts, not made up. Liable for, do you know what? Essaying, abusing a woman in a dressing room in civil court, liable. But the judge said in that case was akin to the R word. That is the real stuff. So how are they going to spin this? And so they got wind of this and they said, oh shit, we done fucked up. So we will just say, we're going to throw the reporter under the bus, say that they're lying. There was never any talk. There was never going to be a summit. And then look, the person usually who's out there saying they had bad sources is the source. Let me tell you about that. Is the source. And sometimes a reporter will take it. They'll say, look, you gotta throw me one. I gotta say this. So don't rat me out. I have some more stuff for you in the future. I may have been born yesterday, but I still went shopping. That's from Kids in the Hall. Look it up. Okay, so look, this is, instead of doing this, here's now what, well, here's how Donald Trump is handled. I just want to show you this because I showed you the Fox News. So he went from, oh my God, it's in trouble, Bill Clinton, blah, 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 blah. And then Fox News took the bait. And then this is how it has been handled over the past couple of weeks. Once they realized in May, remember that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Now this is Donald Trump over the last couple of weeks.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. They should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about.
Jeffrey Summers. Anyway, he mixed the names up. He mixed up Larry Summers and Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so he like made them into one thing, a contraction. So here's the thing. Let me just show you what Fox News is doing now. All right, to throw you off the trail. Okay, so first I'm going to put this up. This is Rolling Stone. Fox blitzes the airwaves with Sweeney. Oh, distraction. Look the other way. This is what's important. Instead of Epstein, we're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney in jeans. Can we put that up, please? That's from the Rolling Stone. So they are, Fox News blitzes airwaves with Sydney Sweeney coverage amid Epstein scandal. Trump's favorite network mentioned the Euphoria actress over 700 times in a week. That is according to CNN. Okie dokie. So we go from that to this. This is what Brian Stelter from over at the CNN is reporting. Brian Stelter is saying Fox News show mentioned Sydney Sweeney and her ad 766 times in the span of a week. Jeffrey Epstein's name came up 53 times that same week. That is per, I think, their reporters and in the newsletter that Brian Stelter writes. Do you guys feel me? This is what's happening. This is why people don't trust the media anymore. This is why people are tuning out. Fox News, right now, here they are talking about Sydney Sweeney as a distraction to Jeffrey Epstein, a Jeffrey Epstein story. Do we have it?
Stand by.
Nope. Yes. Nope. Yes. Nope.
Technical issue. Sorry.
Okay. Should I go on until you get it?
Yes. Just give me a moment.
Okay. So we'll show you that in a second. A little technical difficulty there. But Fox News has been talking about, as I said, the Sydney Sweeney story over the Jeffrey Epstein story and any other story that they can cover. That they finally got off of for a little bit Mamdani and the whole socialist thing, and that how New York was going to fall off of a cliff. So they did all of that. And now they're doing the Sydney Sweeney. Here it is.
Actress Sydney Sweeney is facing backlash from the extremely woke and insane mob over her new American Eagle ad campaign.
Well, the woke mob continues to unravel over Sydney Sweeney's jeans.
The woke outrage over that Sydney Sweeney ad for American Eagle.
The Sydney Sweeney jeans ad revealed the left's obsession with jeans.
They are having full meltdowns about a blonde, beautiful woman wearing jeans.
Okay.
CNN's Brian Stelter did a search of how many times both
And
stories were.
Brian Stelter, sorry, we not to cut you off, Abby, but we reported that part. Here's the thing though that I want to tell you. So as I wrote on our Substack that nobody I knew, black, white, gay, straight, whatever gender, man, woman, gave a shit about the Sydney Sweeney story. I did not hear one Democrat, not one Democratic leader discussing the Sydney Sweeney story. I didn't hear anybody I knew. When we talked about it, they're like, I didn't even really know what it was about, and I don't care. And a lot of people were like, I have no idea who she is. Now, the young folks, the people who they watch Euphoria and they watch what's the name of the thing? Why can't I think?
The White Lotus.
The White Lotus. Okay, I watched The White Lotus. She was in there, and when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. So those folks may know about it, but a lot of people don't even know. So guess what? This was a total manufactured a la crisis or bullshit narrative, a la the war on Christmas. Oh my God, they're telling you can't talk about Jesus. Oh my God, you can't say Merry Christmas. That's all bullshit. And so this Sydney Sweeney story is a bullshit story to try to distract you. And Fox News, I guess they're doing it, but some are falling for it because this was not a big deal. This was a story that was a tempest in a teapot on Twitter, or a tempest in a teapot on TikTok, or maybe on Instagram. Nobody cared, or something that people were sharing in their group text messages. But other than that, it wasn't shit. Nobody cared. And so, as I wrote in my Substack, if they can get you to argue about blue jeans, then they can get you to forget and not pay attention to justice. And that is where we are today. We had so much more for you. I had so much. This one thing I will share with you about a conversation, according to Michael Wolff, the biographer, that Donald Trump, or conversations Donald Trump has been having or have been having, is either one or some, regarding this Epstein story. And he wants people to know that, hey, I did not unalive him. Now that's according to Michael Wolff. And here's Michael Wolff. You listen, you be the judge.
Why won't it go away? Because there's, at the end, why won't it go away? Because there's, at the end of the story, there is this mystery. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone who talks to Trump frequently, and this person had a conversation with Trump in the last 48, slightly, possibly more hours. And it kind of gave me a chill. Trump called up this person and said, I didn't have Epstein killed. And then this person said, well, do you think he was killed? And then Trump said, a lot of people wanted him dead. That other people wanted him dead certainly suggests that Trump understands and seems to agree that Epstein was a man who knew too much. Why are we dwelling on this to such an extent? Why won't it go away? Because there's, at the end of the story, there is this mystery.
Look, he's a biographer. He has access to Donald Trump and to people who know him. Just unprecedented access that for some reason Michael Wolff gets with Donald Trump and his supporters and the people around him. So there you go. You are informed right now without being inundated. And what a show that we had for you today. Really, just an amazing show. Think about it. We had a couple of breaking news stories. And that's why I like to bring these to you live in these hours, because I know that at 10 o'clock, like people have they know what's happening. All the news meetings have happened. People have settled in. So at 10 a.m. in the morning, you're kind of getting like, oh, here's where the day is going. And people have figured it out. They've like wiped the sleep out of their eyes. Okay. So that's why we do 10 a.m. And then at 5 p.m., well, people are getting ready to, we're going to go into, we're going to go and we're going to watch the prime time on the cables. And now people don't, because everything's in their phone. So before people go out to dinner or whatever, they're like watching live at 5. That's why, and that's when the shit happens. That's why we bring it to you in these hours live. You're not getting that anywhere else. Okay, so guys, look, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you become a member. That's how we stay viable out here on these streaming streets. We don't have the big corporate sponsors. And that means we don't have the corporate influence, but we don't have the big corporate sponsor. So we rely on your generosity and that, and you caring about keeping us on the air. So make sure you become a member. So welcome to all of our new members. Thank you for hitting the like and subscribe. Thank you for following us on all of our platforms, including the social media platforms. So make sure you hit the hearts and all of those things, okay? So I'm going to see you back here at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for Hot Topics. And who knows what will have transpired by then or what will transpire once we're there. If you want to know anything about this program or where you can find our content, or if you want to get in touch with us, just go to donlemon.com. That easy. donlemon.com. And anything, just click around. You can find everything you need, where our shows are, where our socials are, how to get our merch, all of those things. There it is right there. Watch, stream, merch, Substack, all of it. And then I've got to tell you, on August 12th, our show, D.L. Hughley and my show at City Winery is sold out, okay, on August 12th. And so what you see up on your screen right now is a date. They've added a second date. They've added August 13th now. So if you want to see us and you want to hear these issues that we're talking about, how he feels about it, the comedy, he's going to make you laugh, and I'm going to do the journalism part. I might even make you laugh. Maybe we'll switch roles. Who knows? I'll do some stand-up and he'll do some news reports. And then we'll talk to each other, and then we let you in the audience talk, and you get to get up close and personal with us. Okay? So until I see, check it, go to citywinery.com or go to the website and click on, buy tickets if you want to get on the 13th. So until I see you back here at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, you can be informed without being inundated. So turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.